The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Good evening, you beautiful, sexy, and smart people. Welcome to the A Show, where we have an amazing show where we're capitalizing off of last week's How to Get Ahead of, dealing with the banks with a wonderful financial advisor, Adam Locascio, is joining us to give us
Thank
some
you.
inside tips on what we can do to stay ahead of things. Thank you for being here, Adam.
Thank you, April. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And Big Ray, my beautiful co-host and producer, who's always looking so happy, is across from me.
Well, listen. First and foremost, you're telling me that I have to introduce the guy. I had music set up here. It was like all
Do it. No, you do it. You do the
fireworks.
professional. Do it. Do the professional. Do
Fine.
the entrance, the professional wrestling entrance that Adam deserves.
Okay, here we
Thank
go.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, let me get the music playing. Here we go.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Here comes the money.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam J. Locascio is a staff manager, financial advisor at Western and Southern Life in Tampa, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, he comes in at about 6'8" tall, 275 pounds. Former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. I'm just kidding. I'm making that up, ladies and gentlemen. But he is here. Never fear, ladies and gentlemen, because we will be talking some money. Yes,
Money.
money.
Woo!
Gotta get some energy.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. See, that's way better than what I could have done.
So what's going on, guys? How are you all?
I am very well. Thank you so much for having me, Ray. Appreciate it. April, again, thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Absolute pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. You're in Florida, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, been living in Tampa. I've been in Florida since I moved here when I was 5. I've been here pretty much ever since. It's a great state, great place to live, great place to raise a family, and just absolutely love it here. And no plans on ever leaving. It's the greatest state in the country as far as I'm concerned.
I don't blame you. April, why don't we say hi to some people in the chat real quick before we jump in and we can get the show moving.
Hell yeah. I see lots of people here tonight. Hello. Let's see. Matt Dog, Alex, thank you for sending me. Alex sent us a thing to talk about tonight. We're gonna discuss some stuff. Thank you, Alex. Gam Woofers, cool, awesome dude. Winona, Eva, what's up, Allie? Nomad, David Weissman, hey, thank you. Big Wig, hello, Michael Doherty, hi. And I wanted to say that, tonight, well, first off, welcome. We appreciate you all, everybody coming in. And we're going to talk about kind of everything, all the crazy stuff that's been going on. We have, a lot. Well, you've seen multiple trials this week that have been comment worthy. We're going to talk about how to also, obviously, protect yourself a little bit in these financial times.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about, believe it or not, a little bit of mental health and what an empath actually is and how it comes about. We're going to talk about clean blood banks and how you can now register in America for this if you are not vaccinated. With all the things coming out lately, this is a concern for people who have not had the mRNA shot. So this is something that's good news. We could use some good news, right? And there's a lot on the plate to talk about tonight. So, and also we have a controversial dating and AI video to see what you guys think. An opinion piece here. So we have that. So
don't forget, we're gonna finish the show off with possibly the most stupid court defender or defendant you've ever seen in your life. And you know what I'm talking about. It's gone viral. It's actually a funny freaking story. But anywho.
Oh, Nomad's asking about my chocolate inventory. Seriously, thank you so much for sending me all of that. Also, screw you for sending me all of that because I ate it. So
what? Wait, hold on. No, hold on. Before we even jump into anything, where's my chocolate?
No, there was no chocolate for you. But I got some beautiful European chocolate and some amazing Kit Kats and Mars bars and Thank you so much. They were phenomenal. And it reminds me why I love the chocolate outside of the United States better than the stuff that's inside the United States.
Adam, did you get
So,
chocolate, Adam?
No, I am not at that pay level yet.
Jeez, I ain't get no chocolate. Adam ain't get no chocolate. Anyway, so let's jump into this. April, there's a whole bunch of
Yes,
stuff. Everybody's going broke nowadays. Inflation's crippling the Unidered States of America and other parts of the world. So why don't we get into this conversation? April, take it away.
yeah, let's do it. Well, okay, so I met Adam before. He is also a comic nerd and part of the 501st. So if you are a Star Wars fan and you go to Comic Cons, you're familiar with the 501st. So I'll let you fill everybody in because we're all nerds here.
Okay.
And you can tell everybody a little bit about yourself. But in the short term here, I met with Adam as my financial advisor. I guess was it last week or the previous, about 10 days ago,
Yeah.
and was so impressed with the things that he was telling me. I was like, "Would you got to come on the show and maybe talk about some of the stuff with the people because we just did this story about compound interest and beating the banks at their own game." And he said, "Well, how about making compound interest work for you? You can do that too." I'm like, "Hey, all right, why don't you come on and explain all this to people?" And here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
So-
There's a light side to compound interest, and as long as we were talking about Star Wars, there is a light side to compound interest. There's also a dark side to it, and it just depends on where you want to. Depends on where you want to live. You can use it to your advantage. It can be a crippling thing, but you can absolutely use it to your advantage too. So it's I always tell people it's better to jump in. It's better to jump in late than never. You can always start something and getting your investments to work for you. It's just a question of just literally you have to take that first step and decide that that's what you want to do.
What if you don't have any investments? What if you're in a situation, all right, like speak to us like we're idiots here. What if you have very few investments or no investments?
What do you mean like I'm an idiot?
Okay. What if you're living basically paycheck to paycheck and you don't know how to save or how to start? And what if you are worried about the dollar, and the situation that has been going on with inflation? What would you suggest for people who are living this way? Because a lot of people are. How can they protect themselves or get ahead in this particular case?
And a quick follow before you jump in, Adam.
Sure.
And also, is the old-fashioned type of saving, does that still work? Like the saving that my dad and my mom and my grandma and my grandpa did back in the day?
When you say it's an old, what were they doing as compared to now? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Taking cash and stashing it in the jar or under their bed and just literally hiding and keeping cash in the home, not putting it in the banks, just always having cash on hand.
Well, let me. I'll tell you what, April. Let me jump on that first, since it's fresh out of the gate here. There is a certain advantage to keeping cash on hand, absolutely, for no other reason than there could be emergency situations that you might need the money. Heck, we saw in Canada just a couple of years ago, they were freezing bank accounts of people who weren't abiding by Canada's crazy social rules. So there is
Cuba too. That happened in Cuba.
There's absolutely a need for cash, but there's a couple things that you got to watch out for with cash, and two things immediately come to mind. First, it's a physical asset that's actually very physically fragile. So if your house burns down, you can actually lose all your cash by no fault of your own. So there is that problem. So keeping cash on hand might mean maybe you keep it in a safe deposit box or something like that. And necessarily you don't want to carry too much of it for no other reason than number two.
Okay.
It's not earning anything when it's in your house. You're not getting any kind of rate of return on it. You're not getting any kind of interest on it. So the problem that you run into there is if we're in a situation where we're at right now, or where we were a year 18 months ago, where inflation is 14%, 9%. Now it's like in the threes, and your money is making zero. Every year, you're technically losing 3% on any of that cash portion. So it has a place in your savings. There's nothing wrong with it. It just can't be your entire strategy. So I'd say that's that. So yeah, your parents were probably in the right spot to do something like that. April, what was the first part of the question there?
If you're not making a lot of money,
Oh yeah.
and you're living basically paycheck to paycheck, what can you do to put something aside and get the most out of it? Would that be hedge? Would that be high yield CD? I mean, what do you suggest with people don't have a lot to work with?
Well,
One of the viewers said he's got about 60 grand in a safe deposit box. He's going to use it to remodel his house. Maybe he'll have 20 grand left over. What should he do with that?
well, without knowing too much about that I actually saw that pop up on the screen, and without knowing too much about his personal financial situation, I couldn't really tell him exactly what to do with that 20,000 without knowing a lot more about it. And quite frankly, Nomad 47, I wouldn't broadcast that over the air just for privacy purposes either.
But you can send me your address.
I can do that for you.
No, I mean Nomad
Yeah,
can
we're
send me
talking
his
to Nomad.
address.
I could give him a way to get in touch if he needs to. But to answer your question, what you said, April, is actually a very common issue. It's something that I run into a lot, and as a matter of fact, I get it sent back to me, and I get it sent back to me as a almost like a blow off, where I'm like, hey, you really need to start saving. You really need to start having something set aside so you don't have to go into debt and see the dark side of compound interest. And people will say, well, I just don't have any money after I'm done paying all my bills, which is, like I said, very common. I hear it a lot. A lot of people, especially right now, are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's very difficult. But one of the best and easiest little financial saving tips that I can bring up is you need to reverse the process here. You shouldn't be paying everybody else, and then whatever's left you get for yourself. It should be the other way around. You should be getting that paycheck, and you should immediately be taking a chunk out of it and setting it aside in savings, and then let everyone else get in line behind you. Now, that seems fairly like common sense, but
that's like self-care.
Yeah,
That is self-care, literally.
Yeah, we really don't function like that as people. We're so eager to appease everybody who's demanding money from us.
We're so slavey. We're slavey.
Exactly. Yeah. So you need to pay yourself first. Now, here's what it'll happen. It's like, well, mathematically, the commutative property of math says it doesn't matter when you add or subtract, you're still going to end up with the same amount of money. That's mathematically true. But what ends up happening is if you take that $50 out of your paycheck and you put it into some kind of savings vehicle, what'll happen is everything will slot in behind that withdrawal. And what will happen is your survival instincts will kick in, and you'll know you don't have that $50. But you'll just say to yourself, okay, I'm at the gas station. Maybe I don't need to go in there and buy a bottle of water. And then you're driving home from work and you're like, maybe I'll skip going to McDonald's on the way home from work. You can do those things, will end up happening. You'll compensate for the fact that you paid for yourself on your own. Maybe you realize, hey, I'm not watching as much Hulu or Netflix. Maybe I don't need that subscription anymore. And there's $17 right there you saved every month. So once you do that, once you start taking care of you first and let everybody else fall in line, you'll notice that you actually do have money. Now, if you really don't believe that, you can always take your bank statement for a month and literally go through it and see where all the money is going. And then you can just literally go through and scratch out the things that you don't need, or things that you don't necessarily have to, let's just say, indulge in. Right now, the thing that really grinds my gears more than anything is DoorDash. And
oh my God, we talked about that on this show. What was it, last month? We're talking about people having massive credit card bills because of DoorDash. Because I'm like, why not? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why not just learn how to cook?
DoorDash and Uber Eats, the fees that they charge just to bring you food a couple of miles away.
Yep.
It's just unheard. It's bad enough that you're eating out, but you're paying to eat out while you're eating at home. So it's just a complete waste of money. That is probably, I'm not saying it's the biggest one, but that's the one that bugs me personally the most.
Also, in New York City, they have the groceries delivery, Instacart, and these places where you can literally walk the 5 to 10 blocks and go to the grocery store. But for the convenience of paying an extra $10 and then like a $5 surcharge and then taxes, which comes out to almost $30 extra that you're paying, just to not walk 10 blocks to bring home the groceries
Mhm.
as well. They do a lot of that here in New York City. They do that a ton here, but also because people are getting stabbed and shot all the time. So, that's what it is. What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
I had always suggested that people, if you really, really like, if you really want restaurant quality food, and you can get it, and you don't know how to cook, try one of those meal kit places like Hello Fresh or Dinnerly. Dinnerly's like the low end version, and you can cook fresh food, a couple times a week, and it's right there, and they deliver everything to you, and boom, easy. So yeah, I don't know why they pay that kind of. Yeah, you're paying for restaurant prices, but you still have to clean everything up. It's delivered cold and yuck.
Yes,
I saw
indeed.
I saw a DoorDash bill on a statement one time. It was like for two people, it was like 38. But now this is McDonald's, and it was
Mhm.
$38.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep.
you could go to Chili's, which I'm not saying that eating out is your answer to your financial situation, but which would you rather go to, McDonald's or Chili's? If you're spending
Neither.
$38 on fast food, it's just awful.
Chili's.
But I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I see people who do it 2, 3, 4 times a week, and just
Yes.
crazy. Yeah,
It's insane.
I'd
So
say that's so. Back to the question, I think that everybody does have the money, that they do have something. The question is, what are they choosing to spend money on? And it's a harsh conversation. It's one of those what my dad used to call eat your lima beans moments. It's like you don't want to, but you got to take a good, hard, honest look at yourself and say, what am I spending my money on? Why don't I have $50 a month? Why don't I have $25 a paycheck? And
mhm.
it really is. It makes people look inward. It's a tough one. And you have to you absolutely have to be self-aware and have the discipline in order to make sure that, well, you're doing what it is that you need to do in order to make sure that you're prepared for emergencies, make sure you're prepared for retirement or down payment on a house, something.
How do you feel about because we're just talking about food right now. How do you feel about people that pay for multiple streaming services that don't necessarily watch a ton of TV? They just have it just in case they want to watch a movie.
Yeah, that's what they're counting. I think that's what they're counting on. Anything that
Yeah.
has like a recurring bill like that, they're hoping that you're going to enjoy it for about 3 or 4 months, and
Yes.
then you'll just kind of forget about it.
You know who
And then
started that? Gym
I was
memberships.
about
Oh
to just say
yes.
probably the
Gym
gym.
Gym started that. You used to pay every month. It was like, I don't know, it was like 28, $30. And all of a sudden you sign up, you pay a fee to sign up, a joining fee. Now they have you pay like a $65 annual fee for equipment costs we never had to pay. And now you pay and a membership every, whether you go or not. And they're counting on you not going. So yeah, that's Jim started that.
I can
Mhm.
totally get that. Yeah, and basically what Netflix and Hulu and all these other streaming services are doing, they're just counting on you enjoying it for the couple months,
Mhm.
and then you'll forget about it, and it'll just ding your credit card forever. And then
Yeah.
it's the same concept. That's why they give you the first couple months free. You just kind of forget about it, and then it just pops up on your bill, and then it's too difficult for you to go and click and cancel, and then it just keeps happening. But that's another good one. That's another good place where you can go to save a couple dollars. Just you can see those shows in other places. People share IDs and things like that all the time. But there are free ad supported streaming services. You absolutely have to see something, and things are coming to disc. I know things are coming to disc really fast now. So maybe you don't have to wait that long. Maybe you can get it used or something like that. But that's one of those things. If I'm looking at a client's statements and I'm looking how many, man, you have 15 streaming services and you work 60 hours a week. Like, when are you watching television? That would be my
Sorry, Ben Rob goes, April will murder me, but I sell the seas of piracy.
Ben Rob is not. I will just say
Ben,
for fear of incriminating myself, I'll just say Ben Rob is not wrong. And I
Ben
will
Rob,
say
that's creating karmic debt.
and we will just say that there are what would be the best alternatives, we'll just say, to the streaming bundles. So
Yeah, let me just say that while I don't advocate it, and I especially don't advocate it for small businesses, like models and musicians, I do say I understand. So when it comes to corporations and sailing those seas of piracies, I understand. That's all.
I got to ask you something, Adam. This is a
Sure.
quick sidebar. You ever consider opening having your own YouTube channel? Because you're pretty good at
Yeah.
this. I don't know if you've
Oh,
ever done
thank
anything
you.
like. I kid you not. I've been producing YouTube channels and doing type of stuff like this for a long time, and it seems like you have a good. Not everybody has a good presence for this thing. I'm not trying to suck up to you. I don't do that stuff, but I think you'd probably be pretty successful if you did some type of stuff on YouTube or anything. I don't know if you ever considered it. Have you?
Oh, that's a very kind word. I think what you might be experiencing is a little bit of my previous life kind of coming out. In college, I was actually for a good stretch, I was actually a working stand-up comedian
There it
in
is.
college.
That's what it is. Yep.
Okay.
When I was at Florida State, and
There it is.
and then I also worked at WXSR in Tallahassee.
There it is. There,
Yeah,
I
so-
knew it. I know you had to have some type of background in radio or audio or working in front of people. Maybe even what do you call it when you just when you get up in front of people and you just kind of throw topics at you? What is it
Oh,
called?
improv.
Improv or
Yeah.
something like that. So, because I know a bunch of people from Second City, Chicago, that they did a whole bunch of improv and stuff like that. But you definitely have a presence for YouTube or some type of streaming platform, brother. So
Thank you, Ray. I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah,
You
he's
should
right,
think about
he's
it, man. It's great. Anyway, sidebar over. All right.
No, it's fine. It's fine. People who are longtime Tampa residents will actually recognize my name from the radio station WFLA. I was the traffic reporter there for about a year and a half.
Shut the
Oh,
front
so-
door.
Really?
Yeah, that was early in 2000. In the early 2000s, I was the traffic reporter.
WFLA.
Yeah, 9:70 a.m. WFLA.
Nice. See, look, we just learned. Did you know that, April?
No, but Eva says she recognized them for that.
That is hilarious.
funny.
Thank you, Eva. Who knew the traffic reporter had a fan?
Listen, let me tell you something. When you're listening to the radio and you drive a lot, like especially like we do here in New York City, you sit in your car in traffic. The traffic reporter is like the most popular person
Oh, yeah.
on the radio. Oh, absolutely.
Traffic and weather.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good, April.
So, okay. So you wanted to, two questions. Compound interest, making it work for us. And in addition to paying ourselves, before we pay everything else, and that'll help us keep us in check without a little bullshit nickel and diming at the end of the week with, buying a latte here or McDonald's there or, purchasing something at the store we're not supposed to, which is really good advice. Thank you. If you have a little extra money, where would you suggest tucking that into?
Video games. What?
GameStop. So
Depends on when you buy it, I suppose.
there you go.
But,
Exactly. Where would you? Yeah, like what would you recommend? Like I said, like high yield CDs, hedges. Like what would you suggest there? So there was compound interest, and there was where would you tuck some money into? Play in the stock market, gold.
I would say that let's just say we're starting from zero. We're not going to get too crazy with anything, and without recommending a specific investment at all, because we have to start with something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say that the most successful savers, I won't even call them investors, I'll call them savers. The most successful savers are the people who are able to put the money aside, and then they don't go and they dip into it. Because that's the worst thing you could do is just setting it back to zero. Because once you set it back to zero, now people don't realize that you lose the time, you lose the money, but you also use the time that the money was in that account. And this is where the compound interest, the light side of, I'm going to keep hammering that term. This is where the light side of the compound interest comes into play. Because the longer that chunk of money is in that investment, the more those first dollars are going to be earning for you. Those are ones that have been in the account the longest. So they're going to generate the most income for you. But if you save up $2,000 over the course of a year, and then in year two, you wipe it all out so you can go on vacation or something like that, assuming that's not what the money was for, you're starting yourself right back over at zero again. And most likely, if you made any money, you got to buy in at a higher price now.
Right.
So you've lost all that gain that you had in the previous year. So why am I mentioning all this? Because a lot of people will try and dismiss the financial advisor or the financial representative who's trying to encourage a saver to put some cash away. And they'll just say, well, you know what? I'm just going to put it in my savings account. Well, okay, that sounds really nice on paper, but who can consistently for decades at a time resist the urge to touch that savings account at some point or another? It's right there. And with things like Apple Pay and debit cards, you can get to that savings account very quickly and very easily. So what I try and say is if I'm encouraging someone to save, what I want to do is I want to remove that temptation away from them. I don't want them to be able to wipe out that account with a couple taps of their phone. I want them to be able to have that money and have it put aside so that they cannot get to it unless it's a dire emergency. Like if you need a heart transplant, you need that money. By all means, I'm not going to stop you from going and get it. But if you want a pair of Jordans, I'm going to be like, is that more important than eating in retirement?
Well,
probably
depends
not.
Depends on the Jordans.
Depends on the Jordan. Okay.
To be fair.
So that's where the guidance of an advisor comes in. They're going to help you. Think of them, April. You're a gym person. They're your spotter. They're going to make sure that weight doesn't fall on your chest. Nice. They're going to look over you and they're going to make sure that you're going to do something that's going to help yourself. And they're going to make sure you don't have a setback. I'll give a real life example. That's 100% true story. My wife and I were saving to go on for our 5th anniversary. We wanted to go to Italy. And we set up a savings account where we were putting cash into that savings account. But after about maybe 8 or 9 months, we had a couple $1,000s put away. And one of our weirdo friends called us up and said, oh, guess what? We just got a great opportunity to go on a cruise. And we ended up using that money to go on the cruise because it was in our savings account. It was right there. And then when we got back from the cruise, we realized that the Italy fund got wiped back to zero. And I was like, oh man, that was a mistake. We should not have done that. This is Italy compared to a cruise that we've been on 4 times before.
Mm-hmm.
So my next move was, okay, I got to put the money someplace where I can't get to it. And that's why I started just a general investment account. And I put the money there because I could not get to it anymore. And if I had to get to it, I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get it. And then that was the trick. That was what got me over the hump. And we were able to save money to go away. And we actually did make that trip happen. And there were no other withdrawals that came from that account.
Bigwig says, but at least you got to see dolphins.
I got to see dolphins.
So the same thing happened to me, and a friend of mine suggested using Ally Bank, which is an online bank. So their savings it's probably like Synchrony, same thing. It's an online bank, right? So their savings on Ally Bank go between like 4.3 and 5% for a savings account, whereas my Chase account is like some bullshit of like 0.00001. So if I have a few bucks, I'll throw it into the Ally account instead, because it'll just naturally make more money just sitting there. And then I do not have a card. It's not on my phone. I don't have any access to it on my phone, and I don't have a card. It's not set up with anything, so I can't touch it.
Adam,
so I don't have access to it.
Really quickly, and Colin, I don't know if he and I are on the same wavelength, but I was going to ask about stuff like this. How do you feel about Rocket Money, Robinhood, Acorn, those apps that help you invest, small amounts, like whatever spare change you have, that type of thing, and then they do the investing for you? How do you feel about those apps? Do you think that's a good start off point, or do you think it's all a scam?
I'm not going to go so far as to call it a scam, because it's basically counting on an individual to sign up. It's not like they're dispatching anybody to come get you.
Mm-hmm.
But things like Robinhood, they just allow you to buy stocks on your own. And if you're dedicated to the process and you're going to do your own research, full disclosure, I am not a stockbroker. But I do know things like Rocket, like the Schwab account, the old Scott Trade, E-Trade,
Sure.
things like that.
Sure.
If you want to invest in some some fun, something that you believe in, something that you like, something that you think is going to get hot. Your buddy told you about, hey, you need to get in on XYZ stock and you want to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you just
Psilocybin.
my my best I don't want to say my best advice on something like that is just be careful about putting all your eggs in one basket. And if you're just buying things willy-nilly, just know that there is a possibility, a very real possibility of stock loss in those things. And if you're on your own, one of the reasons why things like Rocket Money, Scott Trade, things like that, I know Scott Trade's gone now, but one of the reasons why those are so cheap to do business is because there are no advisors. They are not paying anybody to help you. You're basically on your own. All they're doing is they're processing the trade with very little overhead, and they're able to turn a profit for themselves, regardless of what your performance does, because they're not advising you in any way. They're just providing the apparatus.
Oh yeah, in the words of Macho
Okay.
Man.
So I'd understood that, like Steve said, and hi Steve, that diversification. I'd heard this from multiple people, and I believe I heard it from you as well, is kind of key. So, and I think somebody threw it in there as you should have cash, you should have precious metals or gold, you should have land if you can, a property, you should have some stocks and possibly some bonds and some different kinds of funds, CDs and hedge funds and things like that. You should diversify across a bunch of different options. So, what is your opinion on that?
Absolutely, diversification is a major key, a major component of a successful portfolio. For no other reason than if you look at just rates of return on the various share classes that go across all the different areas or sectors of the market. There's I wish I had it with me. If I would have known you would ask me that question, I would have brought it. But there's a chart that literally takes all of the share classes of all of the mutual funds, like large caps, small caps, mid caps. It shows them all, and then it shows their performance over like 30 years, and they color code each one. And if you look at the top row, like which one was the best performer, every year it's a different color, and very rarely is it two colors, the same color 2 years in a row. And the reason why is 1 year's super high performer is next year's dog. And then you'll just see that if you can kind of focus your eyes, you can see that color jump around the chart. Sometimes it's near the top, sometimes it's near the bottom. So if you decided to just pick one of those sectors and dump all your cash into there, some year you're going to make some money, some years you're not, some years you are, some years you're not. But what if you had a little piece of all of those different colors? It wouldn't matter which one was at the top. You would have the top performer. If you
There's always something. There's always growth.
There would always be some kind of growth in it. Well, we're in kind of a weird time now because the market is still kind of dancing around the all-time high right now. But at the same time, they're trying to curb spending. And they kept the interest, the government's keeping the interest rate very high. And that's why you're seeing those 4.7% in a money market account, when 10 years ago it was 1%, or if that. Like you had to have $100,000 10 years ago to get 1%. That's why you're seeing that now. So you're in a situation where fixed stuff is paying interest, but the market's actually doing okay. The only problem is we run into, because everything is now 20% more expensive than it was 4 years ago. A lot of people don't have that disposable income to jump into investing right now. So it's kind of this unfortunate circular firing squad where the market's doing really well, but inflation is eating up the extra money for people to invest. And you're just kind of stuck. And that's why you're not seeing the continuous growth of the market. It's just it's not happening right now. Everything's stalling. It's just we don't have any money. We don't have any money to invest extra on top of that.
Listen, man, I came from a doctor's appointment, sidebar, and I said, you know what? I don't have time to cook anything. I'm just going to grab me a sandwich over at Subway. I don't ever eat Subway. Could you believe, guys? This is New York City. I'm in Brooklyn. A foot-long chicken teriyaki chicken sandwich. Take a guess how much you think that thing cost me here in New York.
$17.
I was about to say $15.99.
$19.89.
Wow.
I paid 20. The guy looked at me When I saw the price, I
Did
was
you
about
get a
to
hand job with that too?
I did. It was terrible because his hands were dry and strong.
Oh,
But
more mayonnaise.
let me tell you
It's
something.
tough when you have those restaurant worker gloves on too.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah. I was like, can you at least take the rubber gloves off? But let me tell you something, man. That hurt my heart.
Adam, that is not 20%. That is.
And
I'm
I'm not
sorry,
even joking. I have the
these
receipt.
numbers are not 20%. No,
Well, it's an
about
average of
47%.
it's an average of 20%. Some things are up a lot more than that, and other things.
Yeah.
Gas is up 45%. A lot, and
Yeah,
then some things are
coffee's up 78% in the last 3 months.
How dare they?
It's crazy.
You know,
Oh my
Don't touch my
god!
cough. Yeah, but no kidding,
Yeah.
guys. So I knew we were coming into this conversation. I wanted to throw it out there because I never go out and buy food. I always cook my own. I mean, I buy food. I cook my own food. My wife cooks. I cook, so on and so forth. But it was something quick. And back in the day when you were able to just grab a $5 foot long.
yeah.
Oh shit! It went up. What is that? $5 foot long up.
It's a 400% jump in price.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Insane. So save your money, folks.
Yeah,
Invest. If you want to buy a sandwich
Or buy a Subway.
or buy a Subway, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can buy a Subway before you can buy a Subway. Yeah, I work with a company called CC Bill, and I have a website, a cheap plug, aprilhunter.net, and it's an over 18 website because I do nude physique modeling, like nude and
Yeah,
cosplay.
me too.
So
What?
it's not
Why
porn.
don't laugh
It's
at me.
just nude. So because it's considered high risk, anything now considered high risk, we've all been considered high risk. So all high risk stuff through CC Bill, whether that's Bitcoin or anything considered nudity, has an extra fee to take Visa or MasterCard. So it's always been $500 across the board. So every year we have to pay an extra $500 fee to take Visa, and then another $500 fee to take MasterCard. Well, this year they decided it's going to be $950 for each one.
For Visa and
to
MasterCard?
take Visa and to take MasterCard.
Oh,
So they changed it to $2,000 almost from $1,000. They doubled it almost to take. And we're like, what are you doing? And they said, it's not us, it's the banks. So somebody's sitting around a board meeting, all these guys at like Chase and Bank of America and all these, Truist, and they're like, we need to make more money. I know, let's fuck the people who are doing the adult business. They'll pay it. Screw them. They're all small business anyway. Let's screw over the entrepreneurs. So, and there's nothing, nobody fought for us. There's nothing we could do.
Well, when you ask those people, this is the answer they give you. Oh shit! Of course, as I had this all set up, this is the answer they give you.
Go, you know the thing.
That's all they got. They give you no more.
Yeah. So
Nothing.
Yeah, so that happened. We just found that out, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, I'm supposed to pull $1,000 out of my ass. It's due like this month, and you have to pay it all up front in one thing.
So it's an annual thing, and you
it's an annual thing. It's due now, so I have to find an extra $950 out of my ass right now to continue taking Visa, or all my billing is dropped.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, you guys, wow.
I got
you need to get together with other people who are in the same line of work, and that's pretty much discrimination. Like, how are you considered high risk? How are you considered high risk? I mean, are you doing anything?
Because people
April's very attractive. So
people are dickheads, and they'll join your site, take all your stuff, and then complain to the companies that I don't know how that charge got there. So then there's a charge back. So the wife will see the credit card and be like, what's this? And the guy will be like, oh, I don't know what that is. And then they'll file a chargeback, and then somebody has to pay for that. So that's high risk. So we pay for it. We're the ones that pay for that. Yeah. Piracy. See? Piracy. That's who pays for it. We pay for it. So yeah, that happened.
Well, it's the same thing that's going on here in New York City with people. I know it's actually the same thing where we have all these people that are taking the MTA, which is the transit, and nobody's paying. They're just walking through the doors and they're climbing over the turnstiles and stuff like that. Who pays for it? I pay for it because I'm not a thief. I pay for every single ride I take, and that's the truth. But what happens is that when these people steal and they steal and they steal and they steal, who pays for it? The honest people.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the way. Am I off here, Adam?
No, because as a matter of fact, the only thing that you left out is how do you pay for it? And the thing I was going to say is because what will happen is if enough people start catching on, enough people start jumping that turnstile, and if they don't prosecute the people who are stealing it, what will happen is the MTA, as they are so wont to do, will look at their billing and they'll go, well, wait a second, we had so many bodies on the train, yet our revenue is down. How is that possible? And then what they'll do is, you know what we'll do? We'll raise the price on the people who are paying.
Yeah.
So that's how they make up the money. And what are you going to do? There's no competing subway. They've got you. They're taking your tax money. I think it's funny how in New York, and by the way, full disclosure, I was actually born in New York.
Where?
So I'm Staten Island.
Okay.
So I'm- yeah, so
real
I-
New Yorker.
So I have a
You're a
lot
real New
of I have a lot of family up in New York still. So I go up often. I ride the subway. I do enjoy the subway. Well, at least I did. I haven't been recently. But, let me just say that. With that subway system, the thing that kills me about it is they tax you to build the subway system, and then they tax you to ride the subway that they built with your taxes. And I was like, wow, it's like that's a racket. That's
racket.
a scam. That puts any kind of like online Nigerian prince email to shame. It's like, hey, give me your tax money. I'm going to go build a subway. Okay, you want to ride the subway? Well, it costs you $4. And it was like, well, wait a second, I just paid for it with my tax. But it doesn't matter now.
Hey, Adam, don't forget the new price congestion that we're dealing with here, where you can't drive a car past a certain part of Manhattan because they will scan your plate. And they will charge you even more. They'll charge you to go to work.
Yeah, isn't that like it's a $23 fee, right, or something like that?
A day
per day each way. Yep.
What if you make a wrong?
Right?
You pay $23.
Oh my God! You could somebody could get beaten and murdered for that, like your passenger.
What if you're circling the block looking for a parking space and you just keep driving through that checkpoint?
40, 60,
$98. How'd that happen?
And guess what? It probably has already I think it actually just went into effect, or it goes.
Oh, actually, no. Steve says it was suspended indefinitely.
I was. Thank you, Steve. I was just about to say that popped up on my New York Post. They said that
no way
they put it on hold temporarily.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
There are all other reasons because we all listen. I know we're going off at the tangent here, but we all know here in New York City that the only reason they're doing that is because nobody's getting prosecuted. Everybody's stealing. Everybody's shoplifting. We have Walmart that's leaving, Rite Aid's leaving, Pathmark's leaving. We have all these big chains and all these stores leaving. Fifth Avenue is all pretty much closed down, the famous Fifth Avenue. And not only that, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Nobody's, like I said, nobody's paying for the MTA. Everybody's stealing. Nobody's getting locked up. So they got to make their money somehow. And this is what they're doing. They're affecting. And this is why people like myself and my wife are planning to get the hell out of here and leave. And that's why New York City has lost over, I think, 170,000 people over the last 2 years.
Yeah, they all came to Florida. Fuck you.
Well, listen. All right.
Right, Adam?
Yeah, well, they guilty as charged, I suppose.
Anywho.
But there's a reason why, and I have to admit, the New Yorkers that I've met here are like they feel like the attitude is they just got paroled. My next door neighbor was a postman from Nassau County, and he was telling me just his property tax bill dropped by 80%, and he got twice the house. So he wakes up every morning and he's like, oh, it's like another great day in Florida where I'm not paying $10,000 for a 900 square foot house.
Adam, a 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, the average price for rent now has raised, I think, if I'm correct, it's $32 or $4,200 in Manhattan. 42 for rent, $4,200. And the cheaper boroughs like the Bronx, you'd be lucky if you found a 2-bedroom for $2,000, $2,200. That's insane. People don't make that type of money.
No, but that's how it is in Florida. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath here is between $2,000 and $2,500.
Yeah, but here's the one thing I'll take about Florida.
In
New York City.
Bay.
Yeah, okay. Do you smell piss everywhere? And do you have rats trying to steal your wallet? No.
I
had a rat try to steal my wallet the other day.
We have mosquitoes that will actually hunt you down and
did you hear the story about the flying effing spiders that are coming here to New York City?
Oh, Jesus.
No, you haven't heard that one, right? We got
No.
flying spiders, homeless people stabbing you. Forget about it. It is what it is.
We just got mosquitoes. So we'll move on to some more
Oh,
stories. But
yes.
Adam, where can people find you if they want a local, find you in Tampa Bay and come meet up with you personally or send you a question? Or I know you have your license is good in Florida, right? It's only good in Florida.
I'm licensed for Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Washington State. I know that's really random, but it just so happened that that's where people hooked me up and said, "Hey, can you help me out?" And it just so happens that people live there. So I know it seems random, but yeah, my business is mostly in Florida. My office is in Tampa. It's in the Northdale area, so it's fairly centrally located. Can we put our like my email address in the
Sure.
in the chat or something?
Give me 2 seconds, and I'll put it up while you talk.
That's great. Oh, and you could do like a Zoom or something like that with someone from Alabama, Georgia, or Washington State as well.
Yeah, I can talk to anybody in any state, and if they want to do business, I just have to get the license for that state. It's not difficult.
Okay, that's awesome.
I can absolutely do that. That's great.
All right. So, am I doing the Wise Life one? The
WS Life, yeah.
Okay, no, I'm putting it up now. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Adam, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
My personal favorite Star Wars character? I'd have to say, I like this. I like the story of Luke Scott. There it is. Thank you. I like the story of Luke Skywalker for no other reason than someone asked me that question a long time ago. They were asking me about why I liked Star Wars, like what drew me to Star Wars, because I'm a fanatic.
I have time out before you continue.
Good.
I actually have 3 friends that have a very, very like a nice fan base on a Star Wars podcast. You got to hook up with them. They're called the New Force Order podcast. I used to produce for them. If you look them up, actually, guys, I'm not plugging their stuff, but I think you would be a great guest, man. You can, and actually one of the guys, he's a pro wrestler, but he also does what you do.
Oh wow, how do you like that?
Yeah,
who was it?
We'll talk. His name is Greek God Papadon. We've had him on this show.
Oh
yeah. So but if you look up New Force Order podcast, listen to them, Adam. And if you're interested, you know where to reach me.
I will.
I'll get you on this show. I think you'll have fun. But as you were saying about Luke Skywalker.
I was saying that Luke Skywalker, I was drawn. People ask me like what made me a fan of the movie, and at first it was because I really liked the cantina scene in A New Hope, and I liked it because it was just such an eclectic group of people in this bar. I always thought, and it was weird heads, the guy, a devil, a wolf man, and all this stuff that are hanging around the bar, and I really thought that was really cool. And I remember as a kid having that on VHS and literally pausing it on each alien face just so I could get a better look at it.
That's cool.
But as I got older, I started to realize the reason why I liked that original story so much was because of the fact that it's really a metaphor for real life and hard work. And I'll explain what I mean by that, because I was thinking about it in terms of, I was like, here's this guy. He's 17, 18 years old. He wanted to go to the academy to learn how to be a pilot. And his uncle traps him on the family farm, farming for moisture in the desert. Now, I can't think of a worse job than being a moisture farmer in the desert. I mean, that's got to be the worst job ever. So he gets stuck there. And just as he's getting like depressed and he's getting ticked off at the fact that his life isn't going in the direction that he wants it to go in, just these random car thieves show up with these droids that his uncle ends up buying. And one of the droids has plans to literally overthrow the commanding powers of the universe. Now, he didn't ask for this. It just kind of showed up in his lap, and but he kept going and he kept doing what he had to do. And then one day he meets an old guy who takes him on this space adventure with him with these droids. And the next thing you know, he's the hero of the rebellion. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, it's a good lesson for life. It's like, you may not like where you are right now, but things can change. We live especially in America, we live in a society where upward mobility is not impossible. So if you literally keep your head down, I'll just use the metaphor. If you keep your head down, you keep farming that moisture in the desert. You just don't know when those droids are going to show up, and your whole life could be different tomorrow. But you can't give up, and you got to keep fighting. And that's why I think episodes 4, 5, and 6 are storytelling masterpiece.
Mhm.
And it's for that reason you just have to think to yourself, you got to hang in there. You got to keep working. You got to keep chopping. And sooner or later, good things will happen. You'll get rewarded. It's not often that you don't have anything to show for your hard work. And that's one of the reasons why I gravitated to this story so much. It's a life lesson. It really is.
So not a fan of 1 through 3, right? Like most Star Wars fans.
You know something? I have come to appreciate 1 through 3 because
in retrospect.
I will say that I've come to appreciate. I think that Revenge of the Sith is a very underrated movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It was. I have to say that despite all the Disney nonsense, I still think 2 is the worst one of the bunch.
Probably.
It's the only, and I'll tell you why.
I gotta hook you up with my buddies. I swear, you're gonna love these guys. You'll talk for hours with them.
2 is the only one that has scenes in it that I actually fast forward through. I don't fast forward even through the Disney nonsense, but in episode 2, I will literally fast forward through scenes. There's just stuff I was like, all right, I really don't need to see that. But part 2 does have episode 2 does have a couple of my favorite scenes ever. It has Yoda in the lightsaber fight, which I thought was he was bouncing around like a pinball.
That was
awesome. I remember seeing that in the movie theater and
everybody going crazy.
Everyone flipping out at that part.
I was there.
I do remember that one.
Such a reaction. That was such a great scene when they had
because really quickly, because we got to see the Yoda that we knew. That we knew of.
Oh, that we heard about.
Well, that we heard about, right?
We knew
he had that. We knew how powerful Yoda was, and to see him in action and moving and flipping and doing like crazy shit, we were like, "Oh, I remember being in the theater and watching it. It was on 12th Street and University, downtown Manhattan. I remember exactly where I was and exactly where I went with on that day. I'm such a dork. I'm sorry.
And then the second thing that I thought was awesome was it answered the question that I had literally since I was a little kid. I wanted to know if the stormtroopers were robots, and we found out that they were not. And when that came up on the screen, I was like, "They're people. Okay, we're good."
That explains the really bad aim.
They're people with terrible aim.
We never found out if they were because they never really alluded to the fact that there were actually people under those armor. And at the end of Return of the Jedi, they literally had the helmets of the stormtroopers. The Ewoks were playing the drums on the helmets of the stormtroopers, and I was like, I really hope that at that point I was like, I hope they're robots, because that meant that the Ewoks chopped their heads off. And
Ewoks were badasses.
And I was like, wow, episode 6 could have been really dark if they wanted to go that way.
Absolutely. Anywho, sorry, April, for the nerd out.
May the force be with you.
By the way, Adam, because I might have to run after we get off, but you and I I'll hit you up on your email, and I can get you in contact with these guys, because I think you would have the best time talking Star Wars with my boys.
Oh, wow, that'd be great. Yeah,
it'll be fun. So go ahead, April.
I always got 4 or 5 hours to talk about Star Wars.
You might need them. That's great. Awesome.
We'll talk about we got about a half hour left, about
a little more than
40 minutes left. We got quite a few other things to touch on, so I figured we would try and tackle some of that.
Sure.
And Adam, you're welcome to stay with us and comment along.
It'd be my pleasure.
You want to do the Fauci thing first?
Yeah, that's real interesting.
You want me to? I'll bring that.
So for those of you who have been with us since the very beginning, it's been 4 years, so you know what we've gone through with telling you all of this stuff back then, and the censorship and the abuse and the bullying. And this week lately, it's been extremely validating to see, not validating in a good way, because of course, quite honestly, I don't think anybody wanted to be right. Nobody wants to be right about this. But after you've been basically beat up and abused and told you can't come home for Christmas or to weddings, and you're uninvited to this, and you lose your friends, and you're not allowed to work, and you lose your tours, and you lose your job, you lose your career, you can't leave your house, The entire world blames an entire pandemic on you. You're called a grandma killer. You're called crazy when you speak out. They wish you death. I can't wait till you die from COVID. I mean, I can't tell you how many people wish me death. After that, and then you're seeing some of the things come out. And I lost probably half my friends from all this because they thought I was literally batshit crazy. Now, when we're seeing what's happening with the information coming out, the testimony coming out, that they're saying that, British Medical Journal, who assured us it was safe and effective, came out, I believe it was yesterday, and said that they do believe now that the vaccines are responsible for the sudden deaths that are happening. So that's a British Medical Journal, the BMJ. So, and now Fauci's on trial. So it has taken 4 years.
It should have been after the whole AIDS epidemic.
Oh my God, 4 years. But I would be lying if I said this isn't some kind of validating. So
I have the audio here.
Says he lost 2/3 of his friends from the pandemic. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. How many? And I'm telling you, like, started out a pandemic and then became an IQ test. It really did. So yeah, and they find, well, we knew that 6-foot rule was some bullshit they made. We knew that. We said that. If you go back and watch our shows from the start to now, you will see that everything we said was true, and we knew it ahead of time. But we have a phone call, which you may or may not.
Audio.
Huh?
I have the leaked audio.
Yeah, we have the leaked audio from Fauci, and it's interesting to hear. I think people should hear it.
Right, here we go. And before we do that, I'm just gonna go ahead, Adam.
Oh no, I was gonna say what I couldn't believe during that whole ordeal, and I was in Florida for the whole time for that. We didn't have it nearly bad as other states did. But what I just understand is that there was so much just kind of common sense logic that people just I didn't understand how you couldn't think that there was some kind of shenanigans happening. Like I remember Publix had you walking one direction down the aisle, like they had an arrow. And I remember saying to myself, why? If the virus passed you, it's incapable of making a U-turn. I never understood that. I was like, why are we buying into this? This doesn't make sense. And then the other thing I always questioned was there was never a standard for masks. No. They just said the only place that I ever went to that you had to have this kind of mask was Disney. They were the only people who had a standard. You had to wear a certain kind of mask. But there was a time I remember going into an ABC Liquor in 2020, and I did not have a mask on, and I didn't have one with me. And the guy's like, "You can't come in without a mask." And I literally went out to my car and I grabbed my gym shirt out of my gym bag and I tied it around my face. And he was like, "Yeah, come on in." I was like, "Really? This sweaty, disgusting gym shirt that I've worn for 2 solid weeks? This is going to protect me?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on in."
Any face covering will do. We don't care. You can put your bra on your face. Yeah, the thing that did me was the restaurants. You had to wear a mask
when you're standing and sitting.
The minute you sat down, it's like base. It's okay. You can take your mask off. And it's
I used to make the joke that the virus molecules were like, "Don't infect them. They're eating."
Yeah. And they also, all the lumber from Lowe's and Home Depot keep the virus from spreading. Because everything shut down. But Lowe's and Home Depot were fine. You could go there and they were packed and busy, and all the lumber kept the virus from spreading.
Well, April sent me this this is Facebook right here via Instagram, and this is the leaked audio. But before I do that, I'll just hit this little soundbite.
Not the kind of person to say I told her so, but you know what? I told her so. I fucking told her so.
And here we go.
Yeah.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, "You want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated." Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, "You want to work for us? You get vaccinated." And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit. and they get vaccinated.
That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you. You inspired and created fear through mass mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institution.
Once people
Wow.
Yeah. Was it Marjorie Taylor Greene? Is that her name? The lady from Georgia? Yeah, she flat out, she like, oh my gosh, she flayed him and she said, "You belong in jail."
Well, he
You
does.
belong in jail. You are a liar and you belong in jail. And I'm not calling you Dr. Fauci. You are a mister to me and nothing more. And it hurt. It was I'm so frustrated. You have no idea. It's
Yeah,
4 years of
that's
frustration
terrible.
coming out right now.
You know, what's really sad is you hear the term these days, you hear the term fascism get thrown around a lot these days. What that clip is right there, that's fascism. That's the government. That's the government. That's the people in unelected bureaucrats. Those are the people saying that what we're going to do is we're going to tighten the screws on you. We're going to employ that social pressure on you where you're not going to be able to work. And then you know what they do? The comeback was, you had the right to not get vaccinated. You had every right to not get vaccinated. You just couldn't come to work.
Yeah.
And
they
that
tried
was
to say, "Oh, it's your choice."
that was somehow we gave you a choice. We didn't force we didn't stick the needle in your arm.
You just can't provide for your family.
Exactly.
You can't travel, which are natural, universe, God-given rights. Whatever you believe in, it is your right to provide for yourself and your family. It is your right since the dawn of humanity to be nomadic and travel.
That's actual fact. That's actual fascism. That's not purple-haired college student holding a sign fascism. Yeah, that's actual fascism.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what really pissed me off? So I'm a union guy, and the unions have changed, especially here in most of the blue states, like New York City, where the unions, what they do is they're pushing you to vote for this person. Vote for this person. And if you look at everybody they're telling you to vote for, it's usually far left leaning liberal Democrats. And this is who they're pushing us and almost forcing us, especially during negotiations for contracts, so on and so forth. If you want this, vote for this guy, vote for this girl. And I remember tons of my coworkers getting suspended, losing their jobs, not getting paid bonuses, so on and so forth, for not getting the jab. And it sucks. And I remember talking to my boss, because my boss is very open-minded, and I said, man, 10 years from now we're gonna find out how fucked up this all really was. I'm sorry for using that vernacular, but it is what it is, man. Like it is so frustrating.
And they're trying to do it again with the bird flu.
You got another one?
Because we didn't string them up the first time, because we didn't hold them accountable the first time, because we didn't publicly hang these motherfuckers the first time. Now they're trying to do it again. And this is the way they're going to control our food supply. First they say it's bird flu, so they kill all the chickens, no eggs. Now they're saying, oh, conveniently, it's jumping to cattle. No beef, no dairy. So then what do we eat? We eat the bugs.
Oh, I mean, they're not terrible. They're covered in chocolate.
Yeah, well, they're not terrible if you choose to do it, if that's what you want to do it, if you want to be a vegan. But if you don't,
well, it's the same bullshit with the electric cars.
Yeah.
You know, they're forcing everybody.
Incidentally, let's throw some shit in that. Yeah, they're forcing everybody to do an electric car. By the way, pedestrian, child, and pet deaths have more than doubled this year because of electric cars. Because people are still texting and driving, but now you can't hear them. So they're mowing you down. So please be aware, if you are anywhere near a road, that you may not hear that electric car on the other side of the road. Or
yeah, it's true. They're very quiet.
More than doubled pedestrian deaths, child deaths, pet deaths. So when you're walking on the road, don't walk with traffic, walk against the traffic. Be careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, the moral of the story is this guy Fauci should have been, in my humble opinion, this is just my opinion, I think he should have been thrown in jail for many, many years ago. But especially at the beginning of this thing. I mean, Adam, my aunt in Savannah, Georgia, I didn't get to fly down there. I couldn't see her. She passed away.
Yeah.
I couldn't see her. And this was the heart of 2020. I couldn't see her. I was away from my son because me and my son don't live together. My ex-wife, she has my son most of the week. We split. But during that time, they were scared.
Yeah.
They were living in fear, and they took them. They went upstate to live with her sister, and they were in a house secluded up there for fucking. I didn't see my son for like 3 months. For 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm really close with my kid. That's my boy. It was some of the darkest times, and I've shared this here. I almost became a freaking alcoholic. I started drinking like every day,
and you weren't the only one. There was a huge uptick. People were trapped in their houses, and they were probably getting I don't want to say depression because that's a clinical thing. I'll just say we'll just call it cabin fever, and people are just drinking. And I don't, Ray, I'm glad you came through it okay.
Hell yeah, I did.
But you're not alone. Don't think that you're an isolated case. That was all over. Everyone said that.
No, a friend of mine works she's an X-ray technician. She said the rates of organ damage that happened after all of this because of the heavy drinking and the hard drugs that were done from lockdown went through the roof. So, and Bigwig said wife beatings and kid beatings went up.
Yeah, that too, man.
I don't know if that's an accurate number, but it did go up.
It's
Didn't
not
they call liquor stores an essential business?
Yes.
I want to say I remember that happening.
Yes.
Yeah, liquor stores were essential business, but churches had to close.
Churches had to close. Libraries had to close.
Gyms had to close because they were worried about your health, but gyms couldn't be open, even the gyms that had outdoor areas.
Yeah.
But if you needed your schnapps.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway,
I don't know how people fell for this bullshit. Shit. Honestly, it's beyond me because there were 7,000 flaming fucking red flags everywhere that clearly showed that none of it was for your health, and everything was hypocrite.
April, what is this thing you sent me? If North Korea stops after sending 600 trash balloons to South, what is this? Do you want me to play this?
Eva sent that. Yeah, you can play that, and we'll also do the dating thing. Oh, and before we switch real quick, I wanted to let people know this. We talked last year about the fact that we need a blood bank in the United States, and the FDA is standing in the way of it. There are clean blood banks, and we need a clean organ donation thing too. But because of the blood clotting and the issues, it's not. I've always said this: it's not safe to donate vaccinated to unvaccinated, and this has been proven, but they're hiding it.
Oh yeah.
So they have started safe blood banks in other countries, but the FDA keeps saying that there's nothing wrong with vaccinated blood at all, and they stand in the way of it here. Well, now the private company, safeblood.com, has grown, and they do global blood matching. So you can sign up at safeblood.com and get matched. They're looking for donors. You can donate, and you can sign up that if you are going into surgery and you need to possibly be a recipient, you can get on that list as well. So just wanted to let people know about that.
If you're a vampire, can you also sign up?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, just putting it out there.
There was a Seinfeld where Kramer was hoarding his own blood.
Yes.
Can you do that?
You can bank your own blood. You can do that.
You? Yeah.
Yes.
I always wondered if that was an act of fiction or was it something that you could do?
Hashtag like bank your own blood.
If you were just accident prone and you're like, I'll just put my own blood away just in case.
Wait, you can really do that? I thought he was kidding.
Well, I saw it on Seinfeld, and I was like, if they don't have that, they need that. And I was thinking, like, if you just let's just say you were a super paranoid person and you didn't trust anybody else's blood but your own, like, you should go like once every 6 weeks or something and just start stockpiling your own blood just in case. Yeah. And I'll tell you, if they're not doing that, the blood banks are missing out because with the level of paranoia, I mean, you see people who still wear masks in their car when they're alone. Don't you think that they would be a perfect candidate for this? You know, they'd sign up for that.
Yep. Wonder what they charge you. There's another way to charge a subscription fee, right?
yeah, that's another one.
you get 6 months of Netflix free. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna play this story. I have no idea.
Yeah, you have to play the whole thing, but it's hilarious. Go ahead.
But this is our friend Eva. You tell me when to stop. You ready? Here we go. What is
North Korea said on Sunday it would stop sending balloons carrying trash over the border to South Korea, which it said now had enough experience of how unpleasant it is and how much effort it takes to collect trash. North Korea last Wednesday sent hundreds of balloons carrying garbage and what was labeled as manure across the border as what it called gifts of sincerity.
What a
Officials said its balloons were retaliation for a propaganda campaign by North Korean defectors and activists in South Korea who regularly send inflatables containing anti-Pyongyang leaflets and other content across the border. Seoul responded angrily, calling the move base and dangerous. It was hit with another fleet of balloons this weekend. The South's Joint Chiefs of Staff said balloons carrying garbage such as cigarette butts, cloth, paper waste, and plastic were found across the capital. Local media showed military personnel bagging what appeared to be trash from the balloons in cordoned off areas. North Korea has not commented on the weekend events, but said it sent 3,500 balloons carrying 15 tons of trash in all. Pyongyang has vowed to resume the practice if anti-North Korean leaflets are flown over again from the south. Seoul put the weekend balloon tally at more than 700 and said it would take unendurable measures against North Korea for sending the trash balloons, which could include blaring propaganda from loudspeakers directed at the north, a tactic it has not employed since 2018.
You can stop.
That is hilarious.
Right? I thought we were petty. Oh my God. Thank you, Eva.
They're sending
that is the ultimate political troll.
They're sending flaming bags of shit across the border. Don't give Biden any ideas.
Like it's like the Korean HOA is just upset with people.
Yeah,
exactly. bunch of bags of Joe Biden's diapers.
That is awful. It's funny and it's funny and it's awful at the same time because it's just imagine just driving down the road and then it lands on your windshield.
Oh my God!
Big old bag of shit.
Would not be funny.
Oh gosh.
All right, so I wanted to just read you guys something real quick. You're familiar with what an empath is, right?
Uh-huh.
So I was watching somebody, and she was talking about empaths, how they are not born, they are created. So I was digging a little bit deeper into that, and I thought people might be curious to know about this. So they're created because when you're a kid, they're created from trauma, basically. I hate using the trauma flex, but when you walk into a room and you're dealing with the kind of home life that's kind of traumatic, you walk into a room and you're like, oh shit, what am I dealing with today? What kind of mood is mom in? What kind of mood is dad in? Oh, and then you just kind of back out slowly. You know what I mean? So you start learning to
I do that with
read
my
people's-
wife once a month. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There you go, exactly, like your wife once a month with PMS. So you start learning to read people's body language or their energy, and you get sometimes, with enough trauma, you get really fucking good at it, right? So I was reading I was reading further into that, and it was talking about how relationships are a reflection of us. And if you say that you only attract narcissists, if you're the person that says everyone around me is a narcissist, they're all narcissists. Well, a lot of the time, people who attract narcissists tend to do this because they're not doing the work on themselves. They are. Hang on a second. I wrote notes, but I scribbled. So this is my chicken scratch.
What is that? Is that Asian?
That is. I have my own font. I literally have my own font. So if you are constantly seeing narcissists all around you, it's you. You're attracting them. You're not doing the work. So it means you're unable to do these things for yourself. You see people reflected. I'm not saying this right. Hang on. You are a people pleaser, and you're trying to save everyone around you. So are you valuing yourself? Are you really seeing yourself? If you're not doing those things, what you tend to do is bring the narcissists into your life because they are the mirror. So if you're not seeing any value, you're bringing somebody into your life who sees nothing but value in themselves. So you have to do the work. You have to stop being a people pleaser.
So Adam, I want you to kind of break this down in Star Wars for us. Because Star Wars, listen, as people don't understand, everything in life goes back to
Star Wars.
To Star Wars. So how could we equate this to maybe a relationship? Maybe the relationship between a Padawan and the Jedi.
Your best Star Wars quote.
Yeah, like
well, right off the top of my head, the way I see it is you actually see there is a light and a dark, and you can actually see what it sounds like April's saying. I've only heard it once. What it sounds like April's saying is like, if you're one of those people and you see this dark side in somebody else, but you don't have the self-awareness to see it in yourself, there really is two sides to that coin there. You just can't see it in yourself. So there is a light and a dark. There is an antithesis to your own personality in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with finance. It's the inability to be able to look inward. It's the inability to see those flaws in yourself, but you can recognize it everywhere else.
Yes.
So that's what it is. It's like when a fat person gives you fitness advice. It's just they don't see it in themselves. So that's what I think. That's what is that. What did I read that right?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
That's what I'm seeing. But if we're going to take it to Star Wars, yeah, there is a light and a dark side, and like you think about Luke Skywalker was tempted to go to the dark side and chose not to. Well, on the other hand, Anakin was tempted by the dark side and did. So you're seeing two different people who made two different choices, and they ended up literally on opposite sides of a conflict, and it was only resolved when they actually faced each other.
I love it. And speaking of the dark side and bad boys and everything else, there is a dating video that I gave Ray. I want to see what you guys think of this.
Where'd you send it? You sent it to Facebook, right?
Yeah, it's on Messenger. It was a real pretty girl, and I want to see your opinion on this. Alex sent this to us.
Yeah, just keep selling it while I find it.
All right, so I showed it to a couple people, and what I'm told is that a lot of women are like this. Like, this is the typical female, and I'm struggling with that. I don't understand that might be the typical female. You guys tell me. You might know better than I.
April, I don't have it. I don't have it on Messenger.
Yeah, you sent me the screenshot.
Oh, I sent it to myself, maybe.
Yes, you sent it to yourself.
Oh, okay. So let me just look for that. I'm sorry. Continue.
So you sent the two videos to yourself, the one on AI and the one on.
Got it.
Yes, got
All
it.
right. So which one do you want? Do you want the AI one?
Just use a dark-haired girl one.
All right, got it. All right, let me just set it up here. Hold on, stand by.
Yeah, it won't do sound until you unmute it too.
Yeah, I got it. All right, so it says this is the At Least I'm Honest. This one.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, let me just shrink. Yeah, she's actually kind of cute. Let's see.
Yeah, she's super cute.
I wouldn't die. I wouldn't. What am I doing here?
I don't know. I told you about the sound.
Yeah, I know. That's what she said.
Problem. I went on a date with this guy and he was like, it's getting late. Do you want to come back to my place? And I was like, sure, but I'm not going to sleep with you. Like, that's not happening. And he was like, that's totally fine. Just come over. And I was like, cool. So I go to his place. He respects my wishes. He's so nice. He cuddles me all night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you gay? Like, what? And like, I just wanted him to like try, and then for me to be like, no, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna sleep with him. But I just now I feel ugly.
What?
This is what. Oh my God. Okay, I am.
The fuck? What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Wow.
Right?
The fuck?
Right. What is your opinion of this? Because I have an opinion, but I want
Adam,
to hear
go for it, brother.
Well, the first thing that came to my mind is how much trouble I would get in if I said out loud in a public forum, no doesn't necessarily mean no.
Mm.
Which is, she just took that argument and just threw it right in the wood chipper.
Oh yeah, totally.
So this is the.
I don't think that somebody said that's a millennial. I think she's younger than a millennial.
I'm guessing she's probably late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, millennials have kids now. They're in their 40s.
That is that's just a situation where this is a girl who's playing games, and she obviously has low self-esteem. She wanted to be pursued, and just she wanted to be pursued, and when it didn't happen, like she said it herself, she felt ugly when the guy didn't ignore her and push himself on her. She felt bad that didn't happen. So this is someone who just has an incredibly low self-esteem. And I think there's an unwritten, something unspoken here as well. The fact that she took this story and put it on a TikTok or an Instagram,
Bing bong,
looking to farm response from it, that's just solidifies the fact that she's got low self-esteem. She was looking for somebody to pay attention to her. And
yep.
You know
what Winona says. So basically, she's trying to bait him so she can brag how she turned him down.
Yeah, that would be Winona. That'd be a totally different TikTok if she pushed him off of her.
100%.
Can you believe it? I said no, and the guy got all up on me. I mean,
and that's the way he said it. She said it now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it would have been a totally So I honestly
am I speaking English or something here? I mean, truthfully, what is the deal? I said no, and then he's like all up on me. I'm like, get off. Oh, and then he's not on you. It's like, what's wrong? Are you like gay or something? What?
So yeah, I think there's like, okay, so right, here's two thoughts. One thought off the top of my head that has nothing to do with this is, okay, this girl set boundaries. She's not just sleeping with dudes. And the guy did exactly what she asked. He respected her boundaries. So that's well done, people. Well done. That's what's supposed to happen. Now we get into what the fuck is wrong with her, because this is all about her. So first off, it is not normal for women to have random sex with randos. That is not a natural thing. Women naturally are selective. We are selective because we bear the brunt of fuck ups. So it is normal and natural for women to be selective, not I'm just gonna say slutty. So sorry, I'm just gonna go old school on that one. Sure. So a lot of women now have such shitty ass self-esteems that they sleep with men to make themselves feel better, or they want men to try and sleep with them so they can turn around and turn them down, so they can be like, he wanted to, but I shut him down.
It's a power thing.
It is a power thing.
It's a power thing.
The fact that he took the power back by not doing it, either he read her right or he respected her boundaries.
Yeah, Ray, you make a point there. There is a certain power aspect to it because she's upset that she could not shut him down.
Yeah.
Right. And she felt deprived.
And she now feels ugly because she couldn't shut him down.
Right. I guess it's kind of like, I mean, we're talking Star Wars.
This is the mentality now.
Hold on.
And then and take it one step further. And then she had to post about it on TikTok.
If we're talking Star Wars, I could see Darth Vader, right? Like after he's had that whole conversation with Luke, he's like, I can't believe he didn't, want to join the dark side. I told him I was his father and everything, and it's like he's like, nah, man. I'm just saying.
Nuh-uh.
He was like, nuh-uh. Yo, you guys think that's stupid? I know I told you we're gonna close the show with possibly the most stupid person.
Wait, before you do that.
Yes.
Before you do that, can I say something?
Yes, you can.
If this is what the dating scene is like for you guys.
Oh, fudge.
All right. I'm going to suggest this. If you deal with this type of woman, what I think you should do is say,
run. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you should run the other way. You should run really, really fucking fast. Like zombies from World War Z are after your ass and they haven't found anybody in a while. So, but if you're like really hell bent on fucking crazy, because nothing fucks like crazy, this is what you should have, this conversation, and maybe get it on tape. You should say, listen, I'm not going to sleep with you because you don't want me to sleep with you, but I want you to know I think you are an incredibly attractive woman. And when you are ready, if you are ready, I am right there for you.
That's right.
But I will respect your boundaries because in today's society, we cannot not respect boundaries, and I don't want to get in trouble. But I just want you to know. I just want you to know I would love to be like a romance novel and rip that shit off of you, but it's not going to happen because you said no, and no means no. So there's no question that I would love to get up in there, but I will not be touching you because you don't want me to.
And make sure you phrase it exactly like April did.
Say that shit just like I said it.
I am very willing. I am very willing and amiable to be all up in there.
Yes, all up in there.
In every way possible.
Now,
So,
if you wouldn't mind signing this form first.
now sign this disclosure paper first.
Just like
you will not. Yes.
Or you can be like our friend Colin and say, I'll give you the best 3 inches of your life. But anyway, so all right, guys, I want you to pay attention.
Okay.
This is traffic court. And I'm just gonna play it out. And I want you to watch this. Gone viral. Maybe you guys haven't seen this, but let's just watch as this judge goes over this gentleman's traffic ticket for driving with a license. Are you ready?
Okay.
Cartel's case, People versus Corey Harris.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present in Zoom.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Wait. Now he's waiting for the gentleman to pull into his parking spot. Judge is standing by. This is for audio only. The judge drops his pen.
You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks if the court would allow.
Judge looks befuddled, looks at the paperwork.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Oh my gosh.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at
the poor attorney. The poor attorney.
He's suspended.
What? Say it again?
The poor attorney. She's like, yes, Your Honor.
Look at his face. He's like, I can't believe he showed up to court.
She is questioning that poor
driving without
attorney.
license driving.
Now hold on.
I'm going to say that poor attorney. She is questioning every career choice she made up until now.
Now watch the defendant's reaction as we close out here.
And he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
The judge is looking around like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh.
A lot of confusion.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
What? Oh, fuck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my
Thanks for watching.
God. Wow. Oh man, if you've ever done anything dumb, watch that. It'll make you feel a lot better about that decision that you made.
You know what the best part about that video was at the
What,
end?
Adam?
The guy in the car goes, "Oh man," and it's like he lost the case. Like, what could I have done differently? Why did that? He's like, "Oh, I put on a bad defense somehow," and he's like, "Man, I did not expect this case to go that way."
I don't think he got it.
I don't think he got it either.
No.
He really looked like, did I do something wrong? Did I upset the judge? Oh goodness! Like that's the best part of the video. He's like, "Man, I'm so shocked by this verdict."
And that public defendant, April Hunter. This has been a really fun show. Listen, Adam, I'm going to say this before April does her spiel. We usually have guests on, and I got to tell you, most of the guests, except for Flat Earthers, are awesome, are absolutely awesome. And I am going to jump the gun and say, Adam, even if you don't want to talk finance, you just want to come and hang out and bullshit with us and just talk some trending topics, man, I would love to have you back on, brother.
You know what? Fun. That sounds like fun. We can put the kind of put the work stuff aside and focus on the fun stuff. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, man. April, go ahead, man. Do your thing. Put it over.
All right. No, thank you for being here, Adam. We really, really appreciate
My
you
pleasure.
and your time
My pleasure.
and your comments. So everybody, whoever came out last week, I was at, where was I? I did a Comic Con. I appreciate you coming out. I have another one at the end of the month, Tampa Bay Screams. Hopefully I'll see you in person. It would be awesome. You can see me on Instagram, Real April Hunter, Patreon, April Hunter, and aprilhunter.net. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We really, 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 really appreciate you. We do this basically for fun, and having the company is beyond awesome. So, Ray, where can they find you?
Well,
Yes,
I mean, you can follow.
sir. Thank you.
You can find me on all social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere at Big Ray Hernandez. But what I would like to do is ask Mr. Adam, sir, where can they find you? And we have your email down here. Why don't you just put over and talk about your how can you help all our friends here?
Basically, I'm willing to have a conversation with anybody about their financial future. I don't like I alluded to earlier. If you missed it, like it doesn't matter if you don't think you have enough money, you probably do, and you just need somebody to kind of coach you through it. And I can certainly help you with that. My specialties are retirement, investment, college savings, and life insurance. If you need help with any of those subjects, if you want to have a conversation, if you want what we call just an investment checkup, I'll be happy to help you. Just email me at this at the address you see on the screen here, and I'll be happy to give you a shout back, and we can have a personal conversation and set up a plan that's tailored specifically for your goals.
That's awesome. And let me, in case you're listening and you're not watching, it's Adam Locascio. That's ADAM dot LOCASCIO at WSLife.com is the email. So,
yeah, man.
All right, awesome.
It's been an awesome show.
For being here, I appreciate it, and so we'll see you next week. We'll see you next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Goodbye. And in the famous words of the guy from RoboCop,
I'd buy that for $1.
we are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Peace out, guys. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Stay on with us, Adam, for a minute.
We'll do.
Boobies. Big ass titties.
There we go.
What knockers?
Later, guys.
Young Frankenstein.
Yes. This is a man after my own heart.